Okay, let's get into it. We're taking a deep dive today into Unawatuna.
Yeah, a really fascinating spot in Sri Lanka's Galle district.
It's a place where, geography, myth, and some pretty intense history all seem to collide on one small stretch of coast.
It really is quite concentrated. Geographically, it's just about 5 kilometers southeast of Galle city center.
Right.
And very low-lying, only, 5 meters above sea level. But its fame is definitely bigger than its elevation.
And the main draw, traditionally and even now, is that amazing beach and the corals, right?
Absolutely. That's the core appeal. Beach and corals.
So our mission here is basically to give you the full picture fast. We're looking at everything from, ancient Hindu epics to 17th century naval battles.
And even modern conservation reports. It's a really diverse set of sources.
Exactly. We also, I think, have to touch on the purple-faced langur. It's just amazing that this endangered, really shy monkey is still hanging on there amidst all the development.
It's quite remarkable, yeah.
Okay, so where do we start? Maybe with the most dramatic origin story. The Ramayana connection.
Yeah, let's start there. It's probably the most famous story tied to the place.
Yeah.
It involves Lord Rama's brother, Lakshman.
Who gets injured in the big battle against Ravana.
Critically injured. So the monkey warrior Hanuman, the mighty one, is sent off to the Himalayas.
Right, on a mission.
A crucial one, to find 4 specific medicinal herbs, Ridasanjivani, Vishayakarani, Suvarnakarani, and Sandani. Life-saving stuff.
But the Himalayas are vast in finding specific herbs.
Exactly. He couldn't pinpoint them.
Right.
So rather than fail, Hanuman does something pretty extraordinary.
He just lifts the entire mountain.
The whole thing. And starts flying back towards Lanka with it.
Wow.
And the legend says that somewhere along that journey, a chunk of this mountain just broke off and fell.
Fell down.
Fell down. Right into the ocean, creating the landmass we now know as Unawatuna. The name itself, Unawatuna, literally means fell down.
That's incredible. Is this just like a purely spiritual tale, or does the description in the epic actually match the place?
Well, that's what's fascinating. The sources suggest it really does. The epic describes the spot where it landed, something like a seashore dotted with thousands of trees, coconuts, and palms dominating.
Which sounds a lot like Unawatuna.
It fits perfectly. So it's this foundational story that seems almost woven into the landscape itself. It really grounds the place in myth.
And that spiritual connection isn't just ancient history, is it? It's still alive on Rumasala Hill today.
Oh, absolutely. There's actually an edifice being built right now dedicated to Hanuman. It's near the Peace Pagoda the Japanese monks built.
Interesting.
But that's not the only spiritual story layered onto this landscape. There's a whole other mythology, too.
The Deval deity story.
Exactly. It's about this banished Indian prince who gets shipwrecked. The goddess of the earth, Manamakalai, apparently tries to save him.
But there's conflict. Another goddess involved.
Right. The goddess of chastity, Patini. She wasn't happy about him landing, apparently, and threw up a wall of fire.
So what did the prince do?
This is the wild part. He supposedly used his foot to create a tsunami, essentially, to douse the flames. Then he could finally step ashore.
And that prince becomes the Deval deity.
That's the one. And his temple, the Deval Devalaya, or Kovil, has apparently been there for, over 1,000 years.
It's striking how both myths involve these, catastrophic events and themes of protection near the water.
It really is. Resilience seems baked into the spiritual narrative here.
And you see that connection between the spiritual and the daily life of the coast and the festivals, like the Asala festival.
Yes, the new rice offering. It's a prayer for good harvests, for rain, for the community's well-being.
Centered around the Mahadeva dance.
Or Kiridana, yeah. They make this thick porridge rice, coconut milk, treacle, and offer it as alms. It's a very communal, shared event.
And I was really struck by that tradition of the fishermen.
The Goda Katasa.
Right, offering a part of their earnings, seeking protection for their, dangerous work at sea. It shows that constant awareness of the ocean's power.
Definitely. A direct link between faith and livelihood.
Okay, so we have this deep spiritual foundation, but then European powers arrive and the focus shifts dramatically. Let's jump to 1640.
Right. This is where Unawatuna becomes a key strategic point in military history. The Dutch arrive.
They'd just beaten the Portuguese up the coast at Negombo, yeah.
Correct. So they sail south, and Unawatuna is the perfect spot to land their forces for the assault on Galle Fort.
But it wasn't just a walkover, was it? The landing itself was contested.
Not at all. They landed and almost immediately ran into Portuguese soldiers at Galle, that's near where the Klosenberg Hotel is now.
And the sources say it was a really brutal fight.
Incredibly so. The Dutch apparently lost over 400 soldiers right there, just trying to secure the beachhead before the Portuguese fell back to Galle. 400? That's a huge number for that kind of engagement back then.
It really underscores how valuable this small piece of coast was considered.
And the legacy of that whole period, the Dutch occupation that followed, is literally built into the town.
You mean the buildings?
Yeah, things built for Dutch officials, like the Nooit Gadot Hotel, that's one example.
Right.
Or the Maharambe Mansion. The Unawatuna Hospital building, too, originally.
So the physical structures remain, but what about, like, echoes of the battle itself? You mentioned the UBR Hotel sits on land called Parangewada.
Exactly. And Parangewada means land of the Portuguese. It's right there in the name of the land where tourists are staying today. A ghost of that conflict.
Wow.
And nearby, there's a place called Jacotua. The name suggests a settlement, probably of Japanese people, who came with the Dutch East India Company.
So the names themselves are like little historical footnotes.
They absolutely are. Layers upon layers.
Speaking of layers and odd footnotes, what about that tower on Rumasala Hill, Edward's Pillar?
Ah, yes, the fake lighthouse. It shows up on old British Admiralty maps, marked as their property.
But the thinking is it wasn't a real lighthouse at all.
The theory is it was built during World War I, possibly as a decoy, to confuse enemy ships. A bit of wartime deception.
A fake lighthouse on a mythical hill. It somehow fits the character of the place, doesn't it?
It really does. History and maybe a bit of misdirection.
Okay, fast forward to today. Unawatuna's main identity now is definitely as a major tourist spot.
No question. It's got the whole range, from budget places right up to, five-star resorts.
And all the activities, whale watching, snorkeling, surfing lessons over at Dawada Beach.
Plus, it's super close to Galle Fort, the UNESCO site, only about 6 kilometers away. Makes it a great base.
But beyond the standard tourist stuff, what really makes it special, particularly for people interested in nature, is the biodiversity, right? It's not just sand and hotels.
That's the crucial point, I think.
Huh.
It's a surprisingly rich ecological zone. Clive Byers, the ornithologist, recorded, over 60 species of endemic birds there?
60. Wow.
Yeah, in the marshy bits and around Rumasala Hillock. Things like the lesser whistling duck, Asian palm swift, even the black bittern, which is quite elusive. So it's a hotspot for birders.
And the marine life. We mentioned the corals.
Right, the corals are key. But also shipwrecks for diving, lots of fish, and maybe most famously the turtles.
Ah, yes, the turtles coming ashore.
It's amazing. The sources mention them literally wading ashore to nest, sometimes even wandering into the beachfront restaurants at night.
That's just incredible. Talk about nature pushing back.
Exactly. It's like they're saying, excuse me, we were here first. It's a powerful symbol of persistence.
But that persistence is facing a really serious modern threat. You mentioned the corals are endangered.
Yes, the Rumasala reefs, particularly at the eastern end of Galle Harbor, they're a huge draw for divers, but they're considered critically endangered now.
And this is because of development pressure.
Primarily, yeah. There's ongoing talk and potential plans for port development nearby, and any major dredging or construction like that could be catastrophic for those sensitive coral ecosystems.
So it's this classic conflict. Economic development versus ecological preservation.
Pitting modern needs against this incredibly rich, natural, and you could argue mythical heritage.
It's not the first catastrophe the area has faced, though. We have to talk about the 2004 tsunami.
Absolutely devastating. The impact was enormous. It just swept away so many of the beachfront structures and radically altered the beach itself.
I remember hearing Unawatuna used to be ranked like one of the top beaches in the world before that.
Yeah. There was a claim, often cited, maybe a bit of tourist board hype, but still one of the 12 best beaches in the world.
And after the tsunami?
Well, it's obviously changed, but its beauty is resilient. It's still frequently listed among the best 100 beaches, which says a lot. It bounced back ecologically and in terms of tourism.
Was there also an effort to manage the rebuilding? Because often after disasters, things can get chaotic.
There was. After a period of somewhat uncontrolled rebuilding, starting around late 2011, the authorities did step in. They began clearing many illegal structures that had basically crept onto the beach itself.
Trying to restore some balance.
Yeah, an ongoing effort. Balancing the tourist economy with protecting the actual beach environment, it's a tough line to walk.
For anyone listening who might want to visit, how do you get there? It's pretty accessible.
Oh, yeah,
Wow.
very accessible. You've got the main coastal railway line that runs from Colombo down to Matara, stops right there.
And the main road, too.
The A2 highway, Colombo to Wellawaya, goes right through. So easy by train or car,
And it's not just resorts, it's a proper town.
definitely. It has its own post office, a hospital, the Unawatuna Hospital, we mentioned, a railway station, schools like Unawatuna Mahavidyalaya, Buena Vista College. It's a living community underneath the tourist layer.
So if you had to kind of sum up Unawatuna after this deep dive, what's the core takeaway?
I think it's this incredible, almost unlikely convergence. You have a place literally named after a piece of a mythical mountain falling from the sky.
Yeah.
Then it becomes this pivotal landing spot for European colonial power in the 17th century. It survives a massive natural disaster in the 21st century.
The tsunami.
Right. And now it's this precious ecological haven that's, constantly grappling with the pressures of modern development. Catastrophe and resilience, myth and hard history, nature and commerce, it's all intensely packed in there.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. How does a place like Unawatuna, whose very name means fell down, referencing this ancient mythical catastrophe, how does it reconcile that deep past with the very real modern threat of another kind of catastrophe, like the potential port development damaging those Rumasala reefs? It really makes you wonder which story, which layer of history, the mythical fall or the potential modern one, will ultimately define that small contested piece of coast.